Hey guys, what's up? This is Alex2K. Today we're talking a little bit about lights, just a basic introduction of the main behaviors of light. There are two main properties, or let's say three main properties that you should always put into consideration whenever you light. The first rule of thumb is that no light is white. It would have to be an extremely bright source for it to be white. Any tungsten lighting or interior lighting is going to have a yellow tone. If you have, let's say, fluorescent lighting, you're going to have a greenish tone, and so on and so forth. So light will always have some amount of color. So whenever you make a light, just make sure you give it a bit of color. Not too pronounced unless it has a gel or something, but just a little bit of color so that your renders would be a little bit more real in that sense. So that's the first thing. The second thing that we should talk about is the fall off of light. A light source in real life has a quadratic decay. It's an inverse square law, which pretty much means that if a light source is, let's suppose, 1 unit away from an object, the amount of light that's going to hit that object is going to be 1. So at 1 unit, the amount of light that hits it, it's 100%. Let's put it that way. And if that light source is now 2 units away from the original object, then the amount of light that's going to hit that object will be 0.25. I'm sorry, 25%, a quarter of that, and so on and so forth. It's an inverse square law. In Maya terms, that translates as decay, which is an option on any light. Let's just select the light here. Not that one, since that one actually behaves real. So just selected a point light there, and as you can see, I changed the decay rate to quadratic. By default, it comes with no decay, but you want to change it to maybe a quadratic decay so that your decay rate is more real than regular light. So that's the second thing. First thing is color of the lights. The second thing is the decay of light. And then the third one is the properties of the shadows. By the properties of the shadows, I'm talking about how soft or how sharp the shadows are. I'm going to open up a little example here. That really illustrates that point. Now here, that's the light source, this is the object, and that's its shadow. As you can see that when the light is far away, the shadow is sharper than when the light is closer to the object. Alright, so just keep that in mind. The further away that the light source is, then the softer it is, the sharper it is, and the closer that the light source is to the object, then the softer the shadow is. Let me just elaborate on that a little bit more, which is sort of like a relationship, really. How does that relationship go? Oops, let me delete that thingy, and let me come over here to my Maya. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so that I can elaborate on that point. Okay. Now, here's the thing. If the distance from the light source to the object is lesser than the distance from the object to where it casts the shadow, then your shadows are going to be soft. I'm sorry, they're going to be soft, yes. Sorry, brain fart there. And if the distance from the light source to the object that casts the shadow is greater than the distance of where the object is to where it casts the shadow, then the shadow is going to be sharp. So if that distance is lesser than this distance, you got yourself soft shadows. and if this distance is greater than that distance, then you have sharp shadows. You can actually try it out yourself. Just get a light source and get your hand closer to where it casts the shadow, and then begin to take your hand closer to the light source, and you'll see that the shadow will be softer. Now I'm just gonna write it down so that you don't forget. So in this case, shadows are soft, and in this case, shadows are sharp. Alright, so soft shadows in that case, sharp shadows in that case. So just keep in mind those 3 points. Color, decay, and the properties of the shadows. Alright, now we'll be talking a little bit more on each independent light, but for now, just keep that in mind. I'm going to show you another example, which is just a render of the scene that I have opened up here. This one also illustrates that same point. You can see the shadow here getting sharper and softer as the light source gets closer or further away from the actual object. So we have sharp shadows there, and soft shadows right there. Sharp and soft. Alright, I'll talk to you guys. Bye bye.